knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with the human health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code ALERT, or text ALERT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. That's roundhouseprovisions.com, code ALERT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You can be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text ALERT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Satellite radio.
And we're off. Let's go. Speeding across IndyCar Nation.
Let's get things rolling here in St. Pete, Road America. The streets of Long Beach.
All the way to the Brickyard in Indianapolis.
Joseph Newgarden is a two-time Indy 500 winner. Oh, my goodness.
Your all-access pass to the paddock and victory lane.
Alex Palou is an NTT IndyCar Series champion. Hello.
Hard-hitting conversations with the drivers, engineers, and team owners.
Honestly, I knew the strategy that we had in mind was good, and I just had to survive.
Turn up your radio to embrace the NTT IndyCar Series.
Way to go. Awesome weekend. Let's go.
It's Brick by Brick.
Welcome, everybody.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's it. You gotta get
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love reparations and liberty and justice for all. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! Oh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. As I told you, I've been nominated neighborhood spokesperson, and I'm trying to bring the neighborhood together. Some people don't appreciate it when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's their fault. They voted for me. They get what they get, and they don't go and fit. Today is a beautiful Juneteenth, called June 19th, Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, this standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them, give me a full tank of gas. It's kind of pricey. Tell them, sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, because I see a lot of people walking around with a wide gap. Maybe they were starting to walk too soon. If you got a wide gap, maybe you learned to walk too soon. It's all fair enough, boy. Today's funny. It's Juneteenth. A lot of people are celebrating Juneteenth, but as much as I love the celebration of Juneteenth and the meaning behind it of Juneteenth, it seems a little bit hollow because the slaves, they were offered 40 acres. And they got the freedom 2 years later in Texas, but not the 40 acres. No money, no mule. Just say you're free. And now we celebrate Juneteenth. And it's kind of an oxymoron. How are you free when you don't have land, you don't have money, you can't vote, you don't own property? They just say you're free. But they gotta also mention after Juneteenth, there were some black codes that were put in effect, which is just Jim Crow. When you hear about Jim Crow, the black codes, you could be out caught, you could be in prison just for being out when you were out trying to find work. So Juneteenth, the manner of the holiday without reparations is hallowed to me. It's like wake up, it's Christmas time, and everybody goes downstairs and they want to open up presents. You go downstairs, you see under that beautiful Christmas tree, there's a lot of boxes. You open your box, and there's nothing inside. Nothing. I know people say, "Oh, Big C, can't you just get along?" I'm saying we want to celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation that happened 2 years later in Texas because they were wicked. But there was no gift inside of the box. Now, some people are okay just getting the box for Christmas. Nothing wrong with that if that's all you want. You're supposed to have something inside the box called reparations and 40 acres. You know what they gave white people during the Homestead Act of 1863, actually 1862. And they were still giving out land up to 1870. They were giving them 160 acres of land. But you had to be white or white European. Ask the white Europeans if they would have wanted the Homestead Act or the Juneteenth celebration. I guarantee you 99% would say they want the Homestead Act. But we have been trained as African Americans to just take an empty box. It's not even a paid holiday. It's an acknowledgement of how we were robbed. And now we celebrate the robbery, and President Biden wants to make Juneteenth a holiday, but no land with it, no money with it, no reparations with it. When Lincoln freed the slaves, they were offered 40 acres and a mule for helping the Union defeat the Confederates in the Civil War. So we celebrate Juneteenth with nothing inside the box. Just your imagination. How's that make sense? They gotta celebrate in imaginations, but they gave white citizens 160 acres of land, nearly 300 million acres of land during the Homestead Act. You think they would have stood for just giving white people a box or a song or a holiday that's not paid, a slogan, so we can sit around and do what? March, dance, sing, cook? I'm not being cynical. I'm saying look at the truth. When you went downstairs to open your Christmas present and you looked under that tree, you looked in a beautiful box. Inside of that box, there was a gift. Unless you're celebrating Juneteenth. There was no gift for it. It's not even a paid holiday. It's like a pat on the back. Not money, not land, not resources, not a housing voucher for a grant, not free education, not elimination of taxes, not a free scholarship. It was nothing. And we've been conditioned to accept nothing. Nothing! Well, Big C, don't you want to march? Don't you want to dance? We could march and dance without a holiday. I just think when you gave descendants of chattel slavery a Juneteenth holiday with nothing inside of it, try doing that to descendants of Holocaust when they got the Just Act, the JUST Act. Let's look at the Just Act versus Juneteenth. What did descendants of Holocaust get? They didn't just give them a day to say, oh, here's Juneteenth. They didn't give them that. The Just Act was the United States Justice Department that worked with Germany to create restitution for descendants of Holocaust heirs. They didn't give them a blind holiday with nothing inside the box. But as descendants of chattel slavery, we're supposed to take an empty box and say, well, thank you very much, let's celebrate. Celebrate what? The promise was reparations. It was reparations now, reparations forever. But they trained us to celebrate an empty box. How did we get to that point where we celebrate an empty box? The Just Act is the Department of Justice, United States Justice Department, along with the German government, that made sure descendants of Holocaust got their money, land, things that were stolen, given back. They did not give them an empty box. Why do we as descendants of chattel slavery accept an empty box? Nothing inside of it. Doesn't make any sense. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. And streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. Now, I'm not trying to make people who are happy with getting an empty box for Christmas. I'm not trying to upset you, but there should be more. And it's insulting to me as we have a holiday that has nothing inside of it. Oh, can you just be grateful, Big C? I am grateful, but I want what descendants of Holocaust got. If that's considered doing the right thing, then we should do the right thing for descendants of chattel slavery. Google the Just Act, J-U-S-T-A-C-T. And if you do that, how could you understand that they didn't celebrate an empty box? But that's what they gave descendants of chattel slavery. And we have people taking the day off to celebrate what they call the end of slavery in Texas. No, the Emancipation Proclamation called for reparations. And the owners of slaves got the reparations. I know some people don't understand that. They celebrate an empty box. That's just crazy to me. I'm also going to talk about the Say Hey Kid runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. They love saying the girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Celebrating the late, great Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. I'll talk about that also with Big C Sports Podcast. And ironically, not only that, I'll talk about Big C Sports Podcast Juneteenth, which is an empty box compared to the Just Act, which was land, resources, money, treasures given back to them, annuities, making sure they get paid as we are breathing, and celebrating Juneteenth. We're celebrating Juneteenth as they're breathing, and they're celebrating getting repair and annuity payments. Think about that when you open your eyes. I'm going to talk about the passing of the late, great Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. Many consider the Say Hey Kid the best player in the history of the universe. Come out of Alabama. The great Hammer and Hank Aaron also came out of Alabama. A lot of great players came out of Alabama. I believe the great Willie McCovey came out of Alabama. And the Negro League Baseball was amazing. Great Jackie Robinson talked about the integration of baseball, the late great Jackie Robinson. But a lot of those beautiful, intelligent black men, not only did they not get reparations, they had to deal with Jim Crow. And when you think about how horrible Jim Crow was, that's what happened after the Emancipation Proclamation was passed. That's how horrible that was. Always trying to put their foot on the neck of beautiful, intelligent black Americans, African Americans. There's no land called black anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world. But descendants of chattel slavery should have gotten the reparations. I'll do my best to pay homage to it. And ironically, before there was a California Reparations Task Force, there were some great athletes and social activists. What made the great Jackie Robinson so great and Willie Mays so great and the great Hammer and Hank Aaron so great, they did their stuff through Jim Crow. So when people say, oh, we got people in baseball that were better players, no, you don't. I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. I know I could use more laughter. And laughter is good for the soul. And I really do appreciate having the chance to do that with Big C Sports Podcast. I love it. The commercials are done. The stats are provided. The storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Mays up to the plate. Runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run is bye-bye, baby. The Say Hey Kid hitting yard. He also had a moment where he walked away from baseball to serve in the Army, United States Army, and he's still doing his thing. I really do appreciate what he was able to do as a man, and just a great athlete, a great person. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then streams out on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I want to also say what I love doing with Big C Sports Podcast. I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline because the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, he was a veteran. He fought for this country. The great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. Isn't that amazing? And he was still doing his thing. The Veteran Crisis Hotline, their experience in helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. Give it praise, praise, praise. Like they were praising the late, great Willie Mays. You know, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. And I think I want to shine light on so many things, and that's what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to get into some things that I love about Big C Sports Podcast. And I got to make sure that I do this commercial because I'm working on a commercial, and I hope you like it. Everybody has their own opinion about it. I'm going to give you my commercial after I give honor and pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because they know a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that pays homage to the California Reparations Task Force. We know a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I gotta keep doing it because I heard by Marvell and Tim on Wongung. It's a show about reparations, comes on Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I heard it takes like 50 times to hear something. Repetition is the mother of all learning. I've heard it takes 21 days to change a habit, but I heard that it takes 50 times to hear something over and over and over again before it becomes a habit. So I want to praise the California Reparations Task Force. I want to give praise to the chair, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's actually been on the Big C Sports Podcast, and really do appreciate him. Also want to give praise to someone that I think the whole country should pay attention to, and that's California Senator Stephen Bradford, because he's brilliant, and he also helped craft name, image, and likeness for student athletes in college to help them get paid on their name, image, and likeness. And not only that, he helped create the Ebony Alert that helps law enforcement put the same amount of resources into finding black children as they do into finding missing white children with the Amber Alert. And not only that, he's part of the California Reparations Task Force. I've seen him speak in front of the California State Senate and got the bills passed through. It was Senate Bill 1331, 1403, and Senate Bill 1050. I saw him speak in front of the State Assembly, and he did the same thing and got them to approve those votes when it comes to Assembly Bill 1331, 1403, and 1050. 1050 is eminent domain. 1403 is how you qualify for reparations. And 1331 is funding reparations, how they can fund it with these private reserve accounts that California has that people don't know about. At the same time, I just think he's amazing. I love championing him. He's about pen to paper. And we got to understand that Juneteenth was about pen to paper. The Emancipation Proclamation was about pen to paper. It was not about an empty box that we celebrate too much. I want the Just Act for descendants of child slavery. In fact, I'm going to start championing the Just Act for descendants of child slavery. Google it. I'm going to give praise to Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. Love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki, Japanese citizen, a lawyer who's part of the Reparations Task Force, and his family got reparations. I want to give them all praise, 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 because we all need somebody to lean on, and we know that. How dare we not champion reparations? Good people can do it. You know, good people. You people. Everybody that understands it's good to do the right thing, and I want to make sure that I'm a part of that. I never want to be just somebody shucking and jiving and saying, well, it's going to be, it's for somebody else to solve it down the road. I don't want to deal with that down the road stuff. I want to either lead, follow, or get out of the way, and that's what I'm doing with my own thoughts on BC Sports Podcast. I will always try to champion, to the best of my ability, what I do with the BC Sports Podcast. It's not for somebody else to do it. It's for me. And I'm going to make sure I do my part. You can't please everybody, but you can do the right thing. And what I'm going to do is the right thing. May lightning strike. I'll do the right thing. Reparations now. Reparations forever. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I got a commercial that I'm working on. And some people call it an infomercial. It's more like a movie, Big C. Okay, more like a short movie. But I am trying. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to please people. And I know I'm going to try to please everybody. But sometimes I heard that's almost impossible. I want to say I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of George Jones, the Missing Link Long-Term Care Solutions by the book, over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. Other places called Medicaid. I want to say, not only that, your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs and find out your options. Our promise to you, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Our promise to you is to specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without the spend down. Is that Aflac missing? No, Aflac's the duck. All they do is gap insurance. We protect your assets. A duck can't protect his own assets. That's why you can walk up to a restaurant and order the duck. If only he had someone protect his assets. We do that with the RDC team. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. Have you ever known anyone that dealt with skilled nursing facilities? Have you ever known anyone that dealt with medical prescriptions? Have you ever known anyone that's dealt with medical equipment costs and more? Not only that, I'm not done yet. Protection of your assets. Have you ever known anyone that need their asset protected? We do that with the RDC team, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. Not only that, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate can be from 10 to 40%. They will come after all your assets if that makes sense to you. If you have a will and a trust, you're protected. I say if you have a will and a trust, your assets are protected. But if you don't have a will and a trust, your assets in trouble. Your assets can be in trouble because they'll come after all of them. That's why you got to call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. A one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Not only that, I'm not done yet. Protection. Insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. What the trust protects, it protects your assets, your fixed assets, your bank account, checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, your fixed index annuities. Not only that, your variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, and other investments. Let's say you want to avoid capital gains. The step-up basis, you buy a house for $100,000. Let's say in 1 year later, that house appreciates to $1 million. According to some real estate brokers, they say what they got to say to get it sold. That's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid that with a trust. Over 3 decades of experience, attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And when you do, you want to give it some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. because we all need somebody to lean on, and it's nice when somebody's leaning back. And when someone says, use our service, you want to ask, who else has used your services, Big C? I'm glad you asked. You got to have some endorsements. We give you our endorsements. We have the endorsement of Mr. Scott Thibodeau, one of the top attorney estate planners in Northern California. We have Mr. George Jones. He's the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. We have Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, also works with many of the top lobbyists in California. We have Ms. Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. That's a top endorsement. We have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, had the endorsement of the late Cal Purr's top legal mind, the late Robert Carlson. He endorsed the RDC team. We have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorsed the RDC team. Not only that, we have Charlton Curry, co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. He endorses the RDC team also as a consultant, also owner of Big C Sports. Not only that, we have Double O, payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She endorses the RDC team, also a consultant with the RDC. Not only that, it has her own economic awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can hear that on Access Sacramento. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. If you like that, give it some praise. I say give it praise, 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 because we all need somebody to lean on. I'm going to get into this talk of the Juneteenth holiday, and then but before I do that, I want you to hear one of the greatest speakers ever. And when you hear it, just listen with your heart, mind, body, and soul. I know it's Juneteenth, but as a descendant of child of slavery, Juneteenth is an empty box. I want the Just Act for descendants of child of slavery. It's called JUST Act. I want the Just Act. The Department of Justice knows what it is.
About handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them and murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Midlife is right. Reparations now, reparations forever. Reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to give my thoughts, and some people may say, oh, that's cynical, Big C. It's not cynical. I want the Just Act. Do we want to celebrate Juneteenth for the descendants of chattel slavery, or the Just Act for the descendants of chattel slavery? What's the Just Act, Big C? All you got to do is Google it. I'm going to just see. I've talked enough about Juneteenth, and obviously, to me, it's just like an empty present. But Juneteenth commemorates the day on June 19th of 1865 when a Union general read orders in Galveston, Texas, stating all enslaved people in the state were free according to federal law. According to federal law. According to federal law. Juneteenth was designated a federal holiday in 2021. Where's the reparations? Where was the reparations when it came to Juneteenth? We got to know that. On June 19th, 1865, Army troops went to Galveston, Texas to free the last enslaved black Americans in the United States. It was a group of about 250,000 slaves who did not reap the immediate benefits of the Emancipation Proclamation a couple of years prior, simply because they did not know. How do you know they didn't reap the benefits? Because they never got the reparations. Juneteenth without reparations is an empty present. I am so serious. I want the Just Act. So when people say, oh, Big C, you gotta be more grateful. I am grateful. I'm grateful for the Just Act. Google it. The J-U-S-T Act. Google it and replace the Just Act with Juneteenth. And see what they would have said to you. They would have said, this is just an empty box. It's an empty box. Because we deserve the Just Act. You got to know it. Because we got, with Juneteenth, as people celebrating Juneteenth, we got 100 years of Jim Crow. How are we celebrating 100 years of Jim Crow? We deserve reparations. Not 100 years of Jim Crow after Juneteenth. That's a fact. Google the Just Act and how dare you celebrate Juneteenth. Just gotta shuck it and jive it. Hey, let's have them celebrate Jim Crow. How we gonna do that? Just call it Juneteenth. Don't give them nothing. Let them dance and sing, but don't give them the Just Act. That's my story, never take it with it. Google the Just Act and see what the Department of Justice did with the United States Congress and the German government for descendants of the Holocaust. And how do you compare Juneteenth to that? That's a fact. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
There's a long drive way back in center field, way back, it is. Willie Mays just brought this ball to his feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
Here is Mays, who has hit 4 balls right on the nose today, 3 for homers and 1 a line drive to center. Now the 2-0 delivery, Mays sends another one. Tell it, bye, baby. Aaron doesn't even move. It's from far up into the center field bleachers. Willie Mays has tied a record, 4 home runs in a game. The county stadium is going mad.
Here's one. Here's the pitch. A line drive to center. This could be it. Mays waiting. He's got it. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants have won it, and Pierce is mobbed by the Giants. They won it 6-4 on a dramatic 4-run rally in the ninth.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Swung on, hit deep to left. That one is way back. To left field side, number 600 for Willie Mays, and the bye-bye baby bonanza. And the Giants come to home plate to greet him. Number 600 for Mays. He hit it over the 370-foot mark. A standing ovation here in San Diego for Willie.
0-2, Wagoner delivers. Mays hits it into left field.
Pitch to Mays, and it's rolled back in left field. It could be. It's going, and it is a home run.
that with my farewell tonight, you would understand what I'm going through right now. Something that I never feel that I would ever quit baseball. But as you know, it always comes a time for someone to get out. And I look at the kids over here, the way they are playing and the way they are fighting for themselves tells me one thing. Willie, say goodbye to America. Thank you very much.
Batting third and playing center field, number 24, Willie Mays.
Last night, I said to myself, how can I write a speech? And I came up with one saying, how can you put it on paper? That's my theme. You cannot do it. I arrived in New York City on a Friday at 4 o'clock, scared to death with 3 bats in my little briefcase, my glove. I didn't have a uniform. I didn't have a hat. Leo said to me, son, as long as I'm manager, you are my center fielder. You do not have to hit. Just go out and catch the ball. And from those words from Leo DeRosa, I think, gave me a little courage. And I went on from there.
He played in 24 All-Star games, won 11 Gold Gloves for his electrifying play in center field. His 660 home runs are third all-time. Say hey, Willie Mays!
Ted Williams once said, the All-Star game was invented for Willie Mays. The Say Hey Kid played in a record 24 Midsummer Classics. And here tonight, among a constellation of the greatest stars in today's game, he shines again. Please welcome, from center field, the Say Hey Kid, number 24, Willie Mays. And now with a throw one more time from center field, here is Willie Mays, a man with the most hits in the history of the All-Star game, most stolen bases, most runs scored, a career .307 hitter in Midsummer Classics, and a man who, when he was an All-Star, wanted to play a full 9 innings. 1960 went 6 for 8, hit for the cycle in the All-Star game. His favorite All-Star outfield he was a part of, himself, Roberto Clemente, and Hank Aaron. So charismatic, played with such joy. People just loved to watch him play.
Runners on first and third. The counts for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. It was when the Giants come to town. Is bye-bye, baby. Well, the world of Major League Baseball, Negro League Baseball, they lost the Say Hey Kid, the great Willie Mays, an amazing baseball player, maybe the best baseball player ever. The San Francisco Giants, they issued the following statement on behalf of Willie Mays' family and the organization. It is with great sadness that we announce that the San Francisco Giants legend and Hall of Famer Willie Mays passed away peacefully at his home at age 93 in the Bay Area. And his son issued a statement that his father had passed away peacefully and among loved ones. It said, Michael Hayes, and I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the unwavering love you've shown him over the years, that you've been his life's blood. And when you think about the great Willie Mays, a baseball player, and played in the Negro Leagues, there's a lot of things that people may not know about the times of African American ball players playing through Jim Crow and then just dominating the world of baseball. There's a field called Rickwood Field. It's a game that takes on the new meaning that Mason would be watching over, a lot of people say. It's actually in Birmingham, Alabama, the center of the baseball universe. This week is Birmingham, Alabama, where Major League Baseball is paying tribute to the Negro Leagues with a series of games at Rickwood Field, the oldest ballpark in the United States, and the site of the final Negro League World Series, October 1948. It's the place where Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, that's where he's from, and the ballpark where he began his storied career in professional baseball as a 17-year-old young man. The Birmingham Black Barons that same year, as a Double-A Birmingham Barons dressed as the Black Barons took on the Montgomery Biscuits dressed as the Gray Sox during Tuesday night's Major League Baseball game at Rick Field. It's actually called Rickwood Field game, and the baseball world was brought to a standstill by the news that the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, one of the most decorated players ever to pick up a bat, had passed away peacefully at the age of 93. Now, 93 years is a good life, and obviously it's always sad when anyone passes, anyone who's ever experienced that, you understand that, but it's something about the great Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, that added a lot of class and grace to the game, not just as an athlete, but the way he conducted himself, and they did it through Jim Crow. It wasn't always easy for African Americans. You think sometimes we deal with racism now, but imagine the days of Jim Crow. And when you think about the great Willie Mays, how he was able to just overcome so many things. Willie Mays was one of the greatest players to ever play the game. He ended his Hall of Fame career in Queens and was a key piece for the 1973 National League champion team. Mays played with a style and grace like no one else, and there were a lot of people who were thrilled and honored to see him play. His iconic number 24 retired as a member of the New York Mets in 2022 on behalf of our entire organization. We send our thoughts and prayers to Willie's family and friends. New York mentioned there was a lot to be excited about at Shea Stadium on May 11th, 1972. Not only were the Mets in first place that day, but they made news by acquiring the great Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, from the San Francisco Giants in a trade for right-hander Charlie Williams, and only $50,000. Today it would have been $50 million. It was Mays' second go-around in New York, and he was the king of the Big Apple for 7 years in the 1950s. This is still during Jim Crow. When the Giants played in the Polo Grounds in New York, Mays had millions of fans in the tri-state area, but none bigger than the Mets' principal owner, Ron Payson. When you think about the great Willie Mays, the Giants, they sold a stake in the team after they moved to San Francisco in 1958, which he became owner of the Mets in 1962. Payson vowed to bring the Say Hey Kid back to New York before his playing days ended. She made it happen on that day in May. The Giants wanted to reduce payroll, and the Say Hey Kid was one of the highest paid players in baseball at $165,000, which made him expendable. Now they have guys with less talent than him that make that amount of money in less than a week. After learning about the trade, Mays did not want to play for the Mets, had plans to retire. However, Payson offered him a deal that he could not refuse. She said, "Write your own contract." And I said, "Whoa, I got her now." So I said, "Willie Mays, would you like to do what I wanted to do for a long time? Bring you back here to San Francisco?" She said that. In fact, you got to come back to the city by the bay. You are a Hall of Famer in the eyes of all the great people of San Francisco. You got to realize the Say Hey Kid, he did a lot for Major League Baseball. And for people now to pay so much respect to the great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, obviously, you got to realize he did it in Jim Crow for the most part. When he was with the Negro League, the Birmingham Black Barons, it was Jim Crow. And also in Major League Baseball, Jim Crow laws were still in effect until the Civil Rights Act passed of '64. So when he joined the Mets, Mays was past his prime At 41 years old, gone were the power numbers and the high batting average during his 2 years with the Mets. Mays was hampered by a left knee injury, but to his teammates, Mays was a great addition to the ball club despite hitting a combined .238 with 14 homers and 44 RBIs in 135 games. Mays looked out for everybody on the team. If the team went out to dinner and the left-hander, John Matlack, was pitching the next day, Mays would tell him, go home and get some sleep. You're pitching tomorrow. He was a big addition to us, not because he's playing so great, but inspirationally, he helped all the players in the clubhouse and tried to improve their play, and they did. There's so many great stories about the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, and everybody knows that he will be sorely missed. Mays and the Mets reached the postseason in 1973, and Mays managed to get his big hits in October. In the pennant clincher against the Reds in the National League Championship Series, Mays entered the game in the 5th inning as a pinch hitter for Cranepool and hit an infield single that scored Felix Milan and gave the New York Knicks a 4-2 lead, and the Mets ended up winning the game 7-2 and advanced to the World Series. When his knee wasn't swollen and full of fluid, even at his age, at that time you saw the real Say Hey kid, the great Willie Mays. The left-hander Cleon Jones said, you saw the great Willie Mays of 25 of 26 years old. He was able to run the bases and play the outfield. There were times when he should not have played because he had a bad knee, but he was a team player. He was a consummate professional with the score tied at 6 in the top of the 12th inning. In Game 2 of the World Series against the Athletics, the great Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, he singled up the middle of closer Raleigh Fingers, planting the Bud Harrelson and giving New York a 7-6 lead. It was Mays' last hit of his career. Earlier in that game, Mays had problems filling his position at the Oakland Coliseum, and that did not help. The sun was in his eyes, but even with the sunglasses on, he was having issues. The problem started in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Mets up 6-4. DeRon Johnson led off and hit the ball to left center field. It looks as if Mays had a bead on the ball, but he slipped and fell while the ball went past him for a stand-up double. Oakland soon tied the score on a single by Green Tennis after the Mets took a 10-6 lead in the top of the 12th. Mays' problems in the outfield resurfaced. Reggie Jackson, he led off and hit the ball deep, left center field, back to the wall, and then Mays couldn't see the ball and it bounced in front of the wall for a triple. Jackson later scored the last run of the game on a single. Oh my goodness. What a great player. Two of the most great players. Think about it. Willie Mays, obviously I would say the best player, and then Reggie Jackson. It's amazing. That day assumed that Mays' age and his bulky left knee betrayed him, but he wasn't the only player who had problems in the sun. Jones and the A's left fielder, Joe Rudy, had problems also, but Willie Mays didn't stop. The sun was terrible at that time. You can't do anything about that, Cranepool said. It had nothing to do with age or anything else. When the ball goes in the middle of the sun and it's bright enough, the glasses don't help anybody, whether you're 20 years of age or 40 years of age. If you can't see the ball, you can't catch it. Anything Willie got close to, he was going to catch it. It was just like the ball blocking of his vision. Jones remembered looking for better sunglasses to shield the sun, but nothing was better than what he already had. We didn't have anything we didn't know about. The sun was right there in our eyes. Nobody talked about it, Jones said. People just looked at it at his age. But I don't look at it as something that was demeaning to the great Say Hey kid, the great Willie Mays. The Mets lost the Fall Classic in 7 games to Oakland, which is moving to Sacramento to become the Sacramento Athletics. Oakland has 9 championships in that franchise, but they're coming to the River City, the state capital of California. Be that as it may, they couldn't keep the team in Oakland. The Mets lost the Fall Classic in 7 games to Oakland, which was the end of Mays' playing career. He had already announced in September that he was going to retire after the season, and he officially hung up his cleats after Game 2 of the World Series, but still going on. But his teammates wanted him to continue his playing career. He thought he had a lot left in him. He was 42, and he was still the best player on our team, Jones said. We know everybody has to retire at some point in time because age is undefeated. Father Time is still undefeated, and he thought he could have played forever, but it's much more a part of baseball, his style of baseball, what he brought to baseball. Can't think of another person besides Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron that brought more to the game than the great Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, and people have their own opinion about that. Jackie Robinson, Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, they called him Hammer and Hank. Babe Ruth, all great players, the great Juan Marichal, so many great players that played Major League Baseball. They all look up to the great Say Hey Kid. No doubt, Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, the greatest player of the lifetime for a lot of people, and that's not taking anything away from Hammering Hank or anybody else. When you think about Major League Baseball and the great Say Hey Kid, runners on first and third. The count's for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. But there's something about the great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, the godfather of Barry Bonds. You got to realize there's so many great players that look up to number 24, the Say Hey Kid, as a pioneer for the game. And again, he did it in Jim Crow. That's what you got to put in mind. There are a lot of players that think about how great they are some of the great players of today's time. They didn't do it in Jim Crow. They didn't do it with death threats. You think about the great Say Hey Kid, the Giants, they called him the Say Hey Kid, the team's new outfielder, whom he called Pittsburgh. Any chance I got to talk to him, I was just there. What a great player. And a great man. I know we cheer a lot on athletes, but there are times where athletes can bring the world together. Mays, his accolades on the field are almost too numerous to recount. Perhaps the greatest five-tool player in the history of the game. Who's on first, who's on second? Well, Willie Mays was always on first or second. The world champion, Hall of Famer. He hit 660 home runs. He won a dozen gold gloves. He was named to 24 All-Star teams and had well over 3,000 hits and 300 stolen bases. His legacy brings on one of the greatest players in the history of the sport called baseball. Runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball, slug on, hit deep, center field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's bye-bye, baby. The great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. 93 is a good life. It's how he lived and the people that he impacted during his life. And when you think about growing up playing in the Negro Leagues versus the Major Leagues, they won about 60% of the games. But it was the great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, that gave so many young players the belief that they could do it too. He brought a lot of the Negro League players with him when Major League Baseball, when Branch Ritchie brought in my opinion, to break baseball, when he started bringing in Jackie Robinson and other players from Negro Leagues. The banks would not give loans to the Negro League teams, and that's a fact. And I still believe that there were a lot of mainstream owners that were behind that. From his remarkable combination of speed and power at the plate, his iconic defense in center field, the great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, undoubtedly one of the best all-around players in Major League history. He hit 660 home runs. As I mentioned, he also served 2 years in the military for the Army. So 660 home runs, the way he was hitting them out of the park, could have been over 700 home runs. He was a member of the 3,000 hit club. He won a batting title, 4 home run titles, 4 stolen base titles. He ranks among the all-time leaders in wins above replacement. Perhaps most amazingly, the Say Hey Kid, his numbers would have been even more remarkable had he not missed nearly 2 full seasons of his prime of his career while serving in the military. He served his country, and even with that, still didn't get reparations. Now, didn't get reparations forever. How dare we call ourselves a nation that loves the Say Hey Kid, but refuses to give the Say Hey Kid and his heirs reparations? How dare you say we can pass the Just Act, but only give descendants of child slavery Juneteenth? That doesn't make any sense to me. I would hope that we can all be just and justified in saying the Say Hey Kid, an amazing player, an amazing athlete, an amazing human being. As we say bye to the Say Hey Kid, runners on first and third. The count for the pitch, curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. Bye-bye, baby. The great Willie Mays. What a great player. What a great man. What a great person. It's amazing gone at 93, but a legacy that will live on forever. No matter what you think of sports is a $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to that $1 billion industry, and it can bring our people together. I hope that Major League Baseball, as they're down in Alabama, paying homage to the Negro Leagues, start championing reparations. Because it matters. Reparations now, reparations forever. If you love them as an athlete, and you love them as a man, what would it mean to these great athletes if you could pass reparations in their honor? What a great time to think about it as we celebrate one of the greatest athletes in the history of the universe to pass reparations. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. I love doing it so much with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. It makes me feel so good. But I gotta always tell you that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. If you're gonna drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You could call Uber, you could call Lyft, you could walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone that loves you, or someone that somebody else loves. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap on their own. You need more leader in your life. If somebody's slapping you, I only slapped you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's kicking you, I only kicked you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's choking you out, I only choked you because you made me mad. Pick up the phone, call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap on their own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports show, I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents, Mama and Pop. In fact, Pop played Negro League baseball. I love giving them praise. My grandparents, Muddy and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes see things in people without even asking. I really do appreciate them and love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. I could always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying rise and shine. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. They also owned 40 acres of land. I remember being 8 years old, walking through the hallway about 10 o'clock at night. I felt a hand touch me on my forehead. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies?" I said, "What are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Cookies and baby crap than what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long time. She said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice that sound like thunder and lightning with top of speed. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader. Todd would always say, he said, "Don't look back because there's not much back there in your backside. Always look forward." Yeah, I'm proud of my backside. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, you could be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They would normally go to ESPN, but because of 2 black men in the crew, we were hitting deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to Big C Sports. I love doing that, Daisy. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, A good man always trusts God, Isaiah 50:17, that no weapon formed against him will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers, look up stats on players and teams for Big C Sports Podcast. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And now we're streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. I'm so proud of you. You're a good man, always stay a good man, always trust God. Isaiah 50:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. At the same time, just keep being a champion. Keep being a champion in life. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always said you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud. You notice when I'm screaming loud, I'm trying to scream loud so God can hear. God, I want $6 billion, God. I said $6 billion, and I want it now. Even if it's in nickels and dimes. Well, that's my story, and I take it with it. Well, as you always know, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to chat about reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There were no fighters greater than Muhammad Ali. And now we always ask for the crescendo. We ask Mr. President, you know, Juneteenth, don't make it empty. You got to give out reparations now, reparations forever. Say it like your heart, mind, body, and soul believes in it. I said you got to pass reparations now, reparations forever. Say it like your heart, mind, body, and soul believes in it. You got to pass reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day for the Say Hey Kid. Happy Juneteenth. Next time, put some reparations in that box and make it the Just Act. I said make it the Just Act for reparations now, reparations forever.